Hello everybody, welcome to the Football Daily Weekly. Good to have you here. Laurence is with us.
Hello.
There he is, the man behind the paper, and Dave's back.
It's good to have you, Dave.
Return.
It's lovely to have you. Return up the Mac.
What are the 5 things we learned from this weekend's action? First up, let's talk about the magic of the FA Cup. It's still alive and well. Gentlemen, marvellous scenes really, unless you're a Chelsea or a Manchester City fan. You know it's a good weekend when Middlesbrough win, a Championship side win at the Etihad, and that's overshadowed.
By what is a disgrace.
Well, according to Jose Mourinho.
An absolute disgrace.
Yeah, absolutely. But they weren't the only... Swansea beaten by Blackburn.
Yeah.
Spurs lost at home to Leicester.
What a surprise.
And Manchester United and Liverpool are still in it, but they need to...
They both drew to lower league opposition.
Yes.
Bolton
Manchester United in particular. Outrageous, Dave.
Terrible pitch, that's what you've got to blame it, haven't you?
Is that right?
That's it, yeah. Nothing about the play, just the pitch.
Yeah, of course. Maybe we should play it long then.
Yeah,
Fellaini would like that kind of tactic.
Would, yeah.
We've got a question here from Will Alex who's saying, who is now the favourite for the FA Cup? It's blown wide open, Laurence. But the holders are still in it, Arsenal.
Yeah. Arsenal are the favourites, right?
Yeah, you'd probably say Arsenal, but then the likes of Liverpool and Man United. Imagine a Man United-Liverpool final, that would be the final of all finals. Steven Gerrard's 35th birthday, a huge game. That's what you'd like to see as a final, but you could see Arsenal just getting a nice run. They're good at beating lower opposition teams, whereas Man United and Liverpool have both struggled.
Right, indeed. We'll get your comments in below and let us know who you think are the favourites for the FA Cup. We're going to have to go into more depth with Chelsea. There will be no quadruple for Chelsea this season. Did you think it was always an unrealistic target?
Definitely. Dave? Too many games. The squad is very, very good. It's got a brilliant core. Fringe players that are all right that can come in and do you a job. But just it's too many games. You can't win the FA Cup, League Cup, Champions League and the league. It's a big ask, isn't it?
Tell that to Sir Alex Ferguson.
You'd be playing every week. You'd be playing Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. It's just too much for the players, I think. And the FA Cup now, they can look onto Europe. The League Cup will finich in February. Look onto Europe and think, right, we've got a real chance here.
Yeah.
Fully focus on that. And I think that's what Mourinho wants, obviously.
Yeah. Well, what about in the game itself, Laurence? I mean, Bradford would have been quite buoyed by Mourinho's comments before, saying it would be a disgrace if we lose. Do you think that? John Stead had a fantastic game for them. He created a couple of goals and scored. Was it simply a case of a bit smash and grab? Chelsea were ridiculously poor. Did Bradford maybe get their tactics right and Chelsea got theirs wrong?
Chelsea went 2-0 up, and I think to some extent they assumed that they were there, right? And Bradford took advantage of that. That back line did look very slow for Chelsea, looked very flat-footed at times. I think they were caught maybe ball watching, and Bradford were able to get in behind there. Bear in mind also, the Bradford goals were quite good goals. Yeah. There were times where you think, well, I'd be happy if that was a Premier League goal.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not as if they ruffled them or anything. It is the case that Bradford played good football against them. And maybe that's even more worrying, is that Mourinho's team, which is normally so good at breaking up a side that plays quite expansive football, didn't do that.
4 goals Bradford scored. Dave, Spurs scored 5 fairly recently. It's very unlike Chelsea to ship so many goals, and especially at home. I mean, I know we've talked about the magic of the cup, of course. Do you think that's a problem that suddenly crept in, or is it just one of those things in football?
What I think the problem could be is their core. The core of the 2 centre mids, the 2 centre backs, attacking midfielder, striker. That's where they don't have great depth. They've got quite a few wingers, quite a few different fullbacks, but I don't think Kurt Zuma came in. Compared to John Terry this season, John Terry's been absolutely brilliant. I think that's the problem, that there's players coming in at the key positions that they potentially need to strengthen more, but you can't have a first-choice centre-back sitting on the bench every week. That's the problem that Chelsea have got to manage at the moment. They've got to work on that rotation, I think. The balance is not quite there with the rotation, but Mourinho's probably the best man to deal with something like that.
Manchester City lost to Middlesbrough at home in the Cup. City have had a few poor results of late, Dave. What's going on there? Is this a problem, do you think?
Yaya Touré's not there. Their central midfield just can't deal with Fernando and Fernandinho. They're the same player. They look very similar. They play the same way. Fernandinho...
Similar names.
They've got a little bit more of a ball player, but they don't have that dominant midfielder that's going to change the game like Yaya Touré. It's going to transition the pace. The City side was a very good side. I think it was just Boyata that came in at centre-back, and then it was first string, which is quite interesting. Aguero is one of those players that comes back from injury, then he hits a run, then he hits form, then he really starts scoring goals, really beats players. But he's in that period now where he's just finding his feet, just coming back. But, Lee Tomlins, Bamford, destroyed City in a way. Players that are playing out the skin. Karanka is very interesting, obviously Mourinho's assistant. Last season they looked very good defensively, but they couldn't score the goals. This season it's all coming together. They're looking like they're going to be pushing for Premier League, and good on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they played very, very well against Man City. I mean, Tomlin nearly scored a Bergkamp-esque goal with that turning off the post, but City didn't.
They did not for a lot going forward.
No, they didn't.
No.
I mean, they brought Lampard on, and he looked a little bit likely a deflected shot off the post.
Company also a little bit disappointing in this game. Seems to be sort of grabbing at players, not able quite to reach them, and you wonder why that is the case.
But we've seen that a couple of times with Company of late, haven't we?
Yeah, which I find a bit strange.
Was that Manchester City's best chance of silverware? I mean, the league, they're still in there. I mean, they need to win at Stamford Bridge. You would say they've got Barcelona in the next round of the Champions League. Was that the best chance they had, do you think? I mean, obviously it's not now, but what do you think it was?
Probably, but I always get the feeling it doesn't matter. That it doesn't matter if you win the FA Cup. That's not success enough to market yourself on an international level. For these teams that are aspiring for the very top, which is it's almost another echelon of team now. It's the Barcelonas, the PSGs, the Chelseas, the Man Cities. The guys who've got the next level of money. Winning the FA Cup on its own is not good enough because of the talent that you have, the size of squad, all those things. And
so if they won the FA,
players.
But if they won the FA Cup, finished second in the league, and say got to the semi-final of the Champions League, you're saying that that's not good enough.
For Pellegrini, his target's 5 trophies in 5 years.
He's already won 2 of them.
He's already won 2 of them. It doesn't matter what trophy it is, I think.
But it does. If you win the League Cup, that's not good enough. You've beaten a series of mediocre teams there. But you've not won the Champions League. It's not Champions League money.
But they all can't. But they all can't win the Champions League.
No, but someone's going. But someone. That's the whole point. Is that you have to make your team the best. Surely.
Yeah.
And you've got more, they've got more than enough resources, more than enough money. It's not good enough.
But, I mean, Manchester City, if they fail to win the league and they fail to win the Champions League, do you think Pellegrini will go?
You've got to be mad to do that, haven't you? You've just won the league. You got to think about the future, and he's done something for you already. So don't be so negative with it for the FA Cup. Fair enough, they're out that. But you've got to build that momentum with the manager, build a side with the manager. You've just got to continue the process at the moment. If they sack Pellegrini at the end this season and bought in another manager that's going to get another year and then they're going to sack him, what's the point? Might as well throw it all in the bin, the whole project.
Wow.
Ligue 1, ladies and gentlemen, Ligue 1. Well, despite the riches of certain clubs in Ligue 1, it's Lyon that lead the way in the league. They're top by 4 points, PSG are 3rd and Monaco are 5th. Dave, you've been very impressed with Lyon this season.
Have you?
They play a very, very nice style of football. It's very much like the Liverpool of last season. It's a 4-4-2 diamond. But the width is still there. What Lyon have is a striker in real form. Lacazette, 21 goals in 22 games. But what I like about Lyon as well is that they've gone with the youth. They've gone with their academy. You've got the likes of Tossal coming through, Ferreira, Fakir, Umtiti, the centre-back. And it just looks nice. It's nice to watch. It's a vibrant football. You like PSG, they're very stale, very boring. Lyon is the complete opposite of that, and it's just brilliant. It's refreshing to see.
But Dave, coming up soon for Lyon, I believe in the next couple of weeks, they are playing PSG in Monaco. Do you think they can beat them?
Well, I think you look at the defensive record of late. I think they've conceded 0 goals in the last 6 games. They're scoring for fun. With Lacazette, if he's fit, definitely. They've got players like Gelé that's going to come up against PSG that was cast aside. Gelé is one of their key players. Against Metz, he completed 82 passes on the pitch, more than any player. That's from right back. So that's how they're getting everyone involved around the pitch, and the likes of Goulalon as well. 8 out of 8 tackles he won against Metz. Really good performance. He's got something to prove. 25, French, potentially should be now in the French team, starting player there, but he's not. So he's got something to prove against these big dogs, and I'd love to see it.
Paul Pogba was at the races again, ladies and gentlemen, on the weekend, scoring a brilliant goal and possibly suggesting to everybody that he's the best European midfielder at the moment, Dave?
I'm going to go with no.
Right, okay. Or the best player in Europe.
He has flashes of absolute brilliance. His goal at the weekend, he scored a cracking volley the week before. There's so many good goals that he scores. He beats players. He was dancing around the centre of the pitch for Cavo, beat about 3 players in 2 seconds. But I wouldn't say he's the best player in the world, the best midfielder in the world.
He's the best Vine player in the world.
Well, I was about to say that could be a reason. Because there are players, aren't there, where they're very vineable.
Yeah. He's also I'd say very often is in the team of the week on FIFA.
Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Which makes him relevant to modern culture.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Other computer games are available, of course.
They're
not. I mean, Juve are 7 points clear at the top of the league. Rome is slightly dropping off. But how important is Pogba to that Juventus midfield or team?
I wouldn't say he is that important. I think he is replaceable. The likes you're looking at Marchisio or Pirlo, the players that are really important to that midfield. Vidal again. I think Pogba, you could take him out and that Juve side would still win and whatever. I think Pogba's
1-0. just not. Yeah, they win 1-0 not 2.
I just don't think he does enough.
Do you think he's slightly overrated, would you say?
I wouldn't say overrated. I said he's got. I would say he's got a top potential. You look at, he's not a ball winner.
Yeah.
So he's not a Matic, he's not a Busquets, he's not a Mascherano. He's not a passer. He's not Alonso. He's not Toni Kroos. You wouldn't say he's a creator. He's not a Bojan Valero. He's not a Koke. He's a goal scorer, and that's what he is. He's a Vidal. You know, Pogba scored 6 goals in Serie A this season, the same as Vidal. No midfielder scored more goals. He's a Yaya Toure, similar player. So that's who I'd compare them. It is very much like Yaya Toure, but not the same in terms of their style, but the goals and the shots. That's how you'd mix them as
mercurial. Let's put it that way, which means he'll fade in and out of games. Yeah. He possibly therefore is not the linchpin you want to rely on in your team. He's not a Steven Gerrard Pirlo, one of those Paul Scholes. He maybe doesn't dictate the pace of the game, but he can certainly influence it.
Dave, would you see him move into perhaps the Premier League again? Because Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, everyone seems to be linked with him.
I'd say so. It'd be perfect to replace Yaya Toure when Yaya Toure finally does move on this year, next year, whenever he's similar goals, similar shot accuracy. In the league this season, Paul Pogba's completed 75% of his take-ons. So whenever he goes to dribble past a man, he completes it, and that's absolutely incredible. You're looking at 75%. That's better than Eden Hazard, and he's the standout player in terms of take-ons in the Premier League. So it would be perfect foil for the rest of their midfield. You'd say that real driving, goal-scoring. I would put him at attacking midfield. That's where Pogba should play.
Dare I ask the question then, gentlemen, if it's not Paul Pogba, who's the best midfielder in the world currently, Dave?
It's got to be Cesc Fabregas.
Cesc Fabregas.
Created the most chances in the Premier League, 65 this season, 15 assists in the Premier League.
Yeah.
That's 5 more than any player in Europe's top 5 leagues. Absolutely incredible. And he's the top passer in Europe's top 5 leagues with 1,506 passes. That's it. Fabregas is the best midfielder at the moment.
Thanks very much for coming and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Laurence, are you going to agree or disagree?
I'll agree.
Get your comments in below who you think the best midfielder is in the world currently.
I'd love to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt the opinions will be flying around there. Thank you very much for joining us on the Football Daily Week. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to Laurence and Dave, and we'll see you next time.